We're racing over a freaking bridge.
So as a Colts fan, I'm here in enemy territory at Titans Stadium, but the real reason we're here is for day one here at the Music City Grand Prix. Now, of course, if you didn't see the video yesterday, I did a full track walk, took a look at the track, the circuit itself, and I think it's a pretty good preview because a lot of the things that I observed have proven to be big factors in today's proceedings. Now, we only had one practice session today, which Colton Herta topped. It's kind of hard to really judge like who's fast and who's slow. I think one of the big things to me is that I think this race is going to be very, very unpredictable, perhaps the most unpredictable of this season. And the reason I say that is because the narrowness of the racetrack, the propensity to have incidents and accidents, I suspect we're going to have at least one red flag during this race for a track blockage. It's so narrow. So a lot of those strategy calls start to come into play. I mean, you think about Houston, for example, when Carlos Huertas managed to get a win because of decently timed strategy and everything kind of falling into place. So we did have some incidents today. We had Pato Award get into the wall, kind of a big hit, but thankfully he was okay. We also had Connor Daly have a pretty nasty-looking crash at the end of one of the long straightaways on the bridge. And then, believe it or not, Mario Andretti crashed the two-seater just a few minutes ago. Mario is okay. And then the other kind of non-racing incident, I should say, is the fact that Dalton Kellett got absolutely no laps. I got to speak to him briefly as he was kind of leaving, and it turned out that they had to replace the wiring loom in the car. So that's a pretty lengthy repair, and they were not able to get back out. So I spoke to a few drivers. We had a bit of a media bullpen here at the Music City Grand Prix, and what I tried to do was ask the drivers, because it's tough when it's so unpredictable, like I said, and there's so much unexpected, to ask them what to expect. So I tried to ask them kind of what their preparation was to get into the mood to race at a brand new street circuit. We have experienced drivers, we have inexperienced drivers, and we got some seriously fast ones. Take a look at it.
Yeah, we've done quite a few laps in the simulator to prepare, but like I say, it's quite, I think, quite far from the real track. So it's gonna be difficult, but it's the same for everyone. We're all in the same place here. No one has been here and done laps, so it's going to be interesting that way because normally for me coming here a couple of years ago, it's a lot of tracks where I'm still learning, and you go up against guys like Dixon and that's been around for 20 years on these types of tracks. So it's definitely better for us to come to a track here where everyone starts from scratch.
Yeah, I think it's changed a lot since I first started. I think with simulation and even the scanning process and a lot of things that they do. Obviously, being a temporary circuit is always hard to get the radiuses completely right, but to get the flow of the track definitely helps. So, yeah, I think all of our team and all of the Honda drivers have been on the simulator to get that flow down. How accurate that is, we'll have to wait and find out. But actually, it seems a bit wider in a lot of areas once we did that kind of recon lap this morning than what it was on the simulator. So yeah, there's lots of different ways to do it. But I feel like street courses, and there's always one that relates to another. Maybe this is more like Detroit, maybe a little bit more like St. Pete. So we'll have to see how that plays.
I think, yeah, not much to expect other than just to take it slow. Obviously soak it in and make sure that we, don't make any, rookie mistakes here on a street course. I'm pretty happy with, our debut at Road America, so I want to capitalize on that and just continue to have the same mindset, keep the car in one piece, get through all the sessions, and I think if we do that and take the checkered flag on Sunday, it'll end up being a pretty good weekend. So that's all I'm looking forward to, really.
From my standpoint and the team standpoint, it's mostly kind of virtual simulation stuff. So we've been using the Chevy sim down in Charlotte there and doing a couple days there. They were able to create a pretty high fidelity model of the circuit with the bumps and all that. So that's great for getting that first sight picture and just the kind of flow of the track, your gears and whatnot. And then the teams doing their lap sim stuff to try to get their starting gears and ride heights and whatnot. But at the end of the day, it's going to be that just gives us sort of a starting point, and then we're going to have to iterate from there. I mean, there's inevitably going to be major differences from from the simulator to the real track, and the other side of it is just kind of doing a bit of mental prep and trying to, after the track walk, trying to picture, okay, what was different from the sim, and like how might that look in the car. Trying to think about that a bit last night, and that's kind of what you can do.
Honestly, you kind of just have to take it as it comes to you. My way of going about it is just you just have to feel things out. The sim will prepare you into like where you're going, but it will not give you any sensation of what it's gonna feel like. Just the tightness of it, and just like bumps here, bumps there, the braking here, slippery here, downhill here. It's just you get those whenever you're actually in the car and you're getting all the feelings from the actual race car. So the best thing you can do is just like test what the limit is. The problem is there's a wall next to you, and when you mess up, you're pretty much going into it. So it's like there has to be kind of like a cautious side of you, but you have to ship it, man. You have to explore. That's the best thing you can do, explore, because if you don't, then you're gonna be a step behind if it comes to qualifying and experiment different lines, because the bridges is smooth, and then in some other places it's very bumpy. There's like railroad tracks across, so sometimes inside is less bumpy than outside, or outside is less bumpy than inside. So that's where lines can get a little tricky, but we won't really know until we go out today.
It's a little bit different, but not dramatically so. Yeah, back in the days, obviously there was no sim work. The team would run like simulation from a digital layout and try and figure the gears out and the roughness and ride heights and things. But now it's obviously a lot more in depth. The OEMs obviously have massive simulator resources to try and help us prepare. That's the first time that I ever obviously drive a virtual track that hasn't even been built yet. So obviously it leads to a few different visual differences, but still it gives you a pretty good sense of how things are working out. And but yeah, I mean it is quite different. As far as we're concerned, we didn't spend a crazy amount of time on it, but it's still a lot better than just showing up having no idea if the track turned left or right.
So what's that process like as a driver once you actually get out onto the track on a new circuit like this? I mean, that's the thing, like from the outside is because I walked that track yesterday, it's so bumpy and narrow. How do you build up to running quick lap times in an hour session?
I don't think much changes with that. I mean, obviously once you get in the car, it's all about comfort, confidence, trusting what you got, and then obviously having the car where it needs to be. So if you've and the team has done a great job and the car is perfect or right there straight away, everything comes easy and it happens fast. If not, it can be quite challenging and take a good chunk of the free practice session that you got. So we'll see. I mean, I almost want to tell you, come back, talk to me at 5 o'clock once we've done it.
So I hope that was informative. Hopefully we'll have more content like that throughout the weekend. There's still a lot of things kind of looking at this race, man. So I definitely like the circuit. The atmosphere is great. There are a few problems. Currently, some of the grandstands are still not completed. They're building them as we speak, or at least had to halt construction because of the fact that cars had to race today or practice. But I think we're going to have a much better idea tomorrow about what this circuit's going to be all about. There's definitely concerns with bumps, no doubt about it. In fact, kind of again going back to my track walk yesterday, we noticed that there were big bumps kind of on the I guess the bridge heading towards the city, and that was a problem today. Cars porpoising. I mean, it was amazing to watch them on the other side of the bridge come down because the cars were bouncing up and down. I think Paul Tracy on Peacock mentioned it was a lot like the San Jose track. I don't know if it's quite like that. I mean, remember, those were railroad tracks and the cars were flying 2 or 3 feet in the air. That's not quite what's happening here, but Yeah, it's going to be an interesting weekend, and I think it's going to be an exciting race. I'm not ready to make a prediction yet, but I do predict that whatever we see, it's not going to be very predictable. So thank you guys so much for watching. This has been David Land on YouTube. Subscribe for more motorsport content, and I will see you in the next video.